The Galactic Combat Academy's training hall fell silent as Instructor Vexthal's 4 eyes swept across the assembled cadets. Representatives from dozens of species stood in neat formation, towering Centaurians with their crystalline exoskeletons, graceful Etherians floating just above the floor, and hulking Corvan warriors whose muscles rippled beneath scaled hide. And then there was Sarah Chen. At barely 5 feet tall, the human looked like a child among giants. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she wore the same standard-issue training uniform as everyone else, though hers seemed to hang loose on her compact frame. The other cadets had learned to give her a wide berth, not out of respect, but out of confusion. How had a creature from a class-13 Deathworld even survived the journey to the academy? "Today we practice combat reflexes," Instructor Vexthal announced, his serpentine voice carrying across the hall. "The rules are simple. When I give the signal, defend yourself from your partner's attack. The exercise ends when I call halt." Kethavar, a Corvan noble standing nearly 8 feet tall, glanced down at Sarah with what passed for amusement among his species. His scaled lips pulled back in a predatory grin, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. Like most of his kind, he possessed strength that could crush metal and reflexes honed by millions of years of evolution on a world where only apex predators survived. Sarah noticed his look and simply nodded politely. She'd grown up in the Australian outback, where her grandmother had taught her that everything from the spiders hiding in your boots to the seemingly harmless plants could kill you in a dozen different ways. Respect was earned, not given based on size. "Pair up," the instructor commanded. "Corvan Kethavar, you will partner with human Sarah." A ripple of whispered conversations spread through the hall. The Etherians' musical voices tinkled like wind, chimes as they expressed concern. The Centaurians' crystal bodies chimed in harmonious worry. Even the usually stoic Draconi cadets hissed softly among themselves. Everyone knew that Corvans were among the most physically powerful species in the galaxy. Their homeworld's crushing gravity and predatory ecosystem had forged them into living weapons. Kethavar alone had already sent 3 other cadets to the medical bay during previous exercises. Sarah took her position across from the massive alien, her stance relaxed but balanced. She'd learned long ago that tension was the enemy of speed. "On my mark!" Vexthal raised one of his forearms. 3, 2... Kethavar's muscles coiled like compressed springs. His predatory instincts screamed at him to strike fast and hard. This tiny Deathworlder wouldn't even see the attack coming. It would be a mercy to end it quickly. The instructor's arm began to drop toward 1. But Kethavar didn't wait. His massive fist shot forward like a meteor, driven by muscle and bone that could pulverize stone. It was a casual strike by his standards. He didn't want to actually kill the little human, just demonstrate the natural order of things. What happened next defied every evolutionary principle the assembled aliens understood. Sarah moved. Not the frantic scrambling of prey, but the fluid, economical motion of something that had evolved alongside creatures far more dangerous than Kethavar could imagine. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her memory. "Speed's got nothing on timing, love, and timing's got nothing on being where the danger ain't." She shifted her weight, pivoted on her left foot, and let the massive fist whistle past her ear. In the same motion, her right elbow drove upward into Kethavar's extended arm, striking a nerve cluster that sent lightning bolts of pain racing up to his shoulder. Her left hand simultaneously grabbed his wrist and twisted, using his own forward momentum against him. The laws of physics did the rest. 8 feet and 400 pounds of apex predator suddenly found himself airborne, spinning in a graceful arc that ended with him flat on his back on the training mat. The impact drove the air from his lungs with a whoosh that echoed through the suddenly silent hall. Sarah stood calmly over him, having barely moved from her original position. The entire sequence had taken perhaps 2 seconds. Instructor Vexthal's mouth hung open, his prepared countdown dying on his forked tongue. In 30 years of teaching combat, he had never seen anything like it. The little human hadn't overpowered her opponent, she'd simply made his strength irrelevant. Kethavar lay gasping, staring up at the ceiling with all 4 of his eyes wide with shock. Pain radiated from his arm, and his pride lay in ruins alongside his body. He'd been defeated so quickly, so completely, that his mind struggled to process what had happened. "How?" he wheezed. Sarah extended her hand to help him up, her expression genuinely sympathetic. "My gran always said that on Earth, the biggest things aren't always the most dangerous. The blue-ringed octopus is tiny, but it'll drop you in minutes. Box jellyfish looks like a plastic bag, but it's killed more people than sharks. You learn to read the signs, move at the right time, and use what works." She hauled the massive alien to his feet with surprising strength for her size. "Besides, you telegraphed that punch from orbit. Might want to work on that." The training hall remained silent as the implications sank in. If humans could do this, if they could turn superior strength against itself with such casual efficiency, what did that mean for the galaxy's understanding of warfare? Of power itself? Instructor Vexthal finally found his voice. "Class dismissed," he managed, his serpentine tones shaky. We'll continue this tomorrow." As the cadets filed out in stunned silence, Sarah helped Kethavar stretch out his injured arm. The Corvan warrior looked at her with something approaching reverence. "Your species," he said quietly. "They are not prey, are they?" Sarah smiled, thinking of humanity's long climb from the caves to the stars, of every predator they'd faced and overcome, every natural disaster they'd survived, every impossible challenge they'd turned into an opportunity. "No," she said simply. "We really aren't." Outside the training hall's windows, Earth's blue-green marble hung in the star field, beautiful and serene. From this distance, it was impossible to see the countless ways it had tried to kill the species that called it home. Impossible to see how beautifully, lethally, those attempts had failed.